The room tone. When you record enough audio, you start to love silence. Not the awkward kind, the useful kind. The clean, steady hush between words. Engineers call it room tone. The sound a room makes when nobody is speaking. It's the glue you use to hide edits so the listener never notices you cut a breath, trimmed a pause, or stitched two sentences together. I didn't even mean to become good at it. I just started a YouTube channel, Horror Story Podcast, because I liked the ritual. A warm lamp, a cup of tea, and the soft glow of waveforms crawling across my screen late at night. And because, honestly, I didn't like hearing my own voice. So I did what everyone does now. I wrote stories. I fed them into text-to-speech. I adjusted the pace, the warmth, the little human imperfections. I layered gentle rain, a faint vinyl crackle, a low drone that made your stomach tighten without you realizing why. The channel grew faster than it deserved to. Which is how I ended up accepting a file from a subscriber named Mara. She emailed like she was afraid of being overheard. I know you use room tone to smooth cuts. I found something inside mine. Please don't ignore this. Attached was a single audio file. roomtone_bedroom.wave. I almost deleted it. People sent me weird things all the time. Haunted photos, EVPs, blurry shadows. But the message was too specific. Too calm. Like she'd already tried everything else. So I opened it in my editor. A flat line. Barely any movement. I boosted the gain. At first it was exactly what it claimed to be. The faint breath of a room. A distant refrigerator hum. The soft electrical whisper of a charger plugged into a wall. Nothing. Then, around the 2-minute mark, there was a dip, like the room held its breath. And something shifted under the noise floor. A sound that didn't belong. It wasn't a voice, not clearly. It was more like the shape of a word pressed into cloth. Like someone speaking from the other side of a closed door with a towel stuffed underneath. I leaned closer to my monitors as if that would help. The waveform barely changed, but my skin tightened anyway. My eyes started to water from staring at the same thin line. I played it again, slower. And there it was. Clear enough that my brain could finally decide what it was hearing. A whisper, thin as thread. Don't cut. I sat back, annoyed at myself. Room tone picks up all kinds of things. A neighbor in the hallway. A radio through a wall. A memory your brain invents because you're tired. Still, my cursor hovered over the timeline like it didn't trust my hands. I listened again. The whisper came at the same place. Same timing. Same shape. Like it wasn't accidental. I scrubbed forward. At 3 minutes, the whisper returned. Don't cut. At 4 minutes, the same. Don't cut. It wasn't getting louder. It wasn't getting closer. It was just there, like a rule being repeated until you followed it. I should have stopped. I should have replied to Mara with a polite explanation and suggested she check her smoke detector batteries or her neighbors. But I run a horror channel. Curiosity is part of the job description. I messaged her back. Where did you record this? And why are you sending it to me? She replied within a minute, like she'd been waiting with her finger on the keyboard. My bedroom. I recorded it because I kept waking up and my room felt edited. Like someone removed minutes from the night and left the rest. That line stuck in my head. My room felt edited. I wrote again. What do you mean, removed minutes? Her answer was short. I go to sleep. I wake up. My phone says no time passed. But my body feels like hours did. And my recordings have new parts one didn't record. I stared at her message, then back at the waveform. New parts you didn't record. That's not how files work. Unless. I checked the metadata. Creation date. Normal. Sample rate. Normal. Length. 10 minutes. But the file had been modified at 3:17 a.m. last night. And according to Mara's email timestamp, she'd been asleep at 3:17 a.m. I told myself the operating system could do that. Indexing. Cloud backup. Automatic nonsense. Still, my thumb kept rubbing the edge of my desk like it was sandpaper. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I recorded my own room tone. Not for editing. Not for a story. just to see what my room sounded like when it thought it was alone. I set my microphone on the shelf across from my bed, pointed it toward the center of the room, and hit record. Then I lay down. I tried to sleep. I didn't. Every creak felt like a confession. Every distant car passing outside felt like a slow approach. At some point my eyes finally closed. And the next thing I knew, my phone alarm was ringing. Morning sunlight pressed through the blinds like fingers. I sat up too fast and got that dizzy feeling, like I'd been dropped back into my own body. I checked the recorder. The file was there. Room tone _ my bedroom.wave. 10 minutes, just like Mara's. That was wrong. I'd left it running all night. I opened it anyway. The beginning was normal. My room's soft electrical sigh, the faint air movement from the vent. Then the audio thinned, as if the room was being drained through a straw. At 2 minutes, the dip. My stomach tightened, already knowing what would come. A whisper. Don't cut. My mouth went dry. At 3 minutes, again. Don't cut. At 4 minutes, again. Don't cut. I paused the playback and just sat there, listening to the real room around me. It sounded the same as always. Which was the worst part. Because it meant whatever was whispering wasn't coming from the room. It was coming from the recording. Or from whatever lived inside the idea of being recorded. I told myself. Maybe I'm hearing it because I expect it. Pattern recognition. Stress. Sleep deprivation. So I did a simple test. I took the file and cut out the section with the whisper. Just a clean slice. Gone. I hit play. The room tone flowed smoothly into itself. For half a second, I felt silly. Relieved. Then my editor froze. The timeline stuttered. And a new waveform grew where I had removed the sound, like a bruise blooming under skin. A whisper, louder than before. Don't cut. My hand jerked off the mouse. The room around me felt suddenly too present. Like it was leaning in. I grabbed my phone and opened the file's properties again. Length. 10 minutes. Modified. 3:17 a.m. Last night, I was asleep at 3:17 a.m. I didn't remember waking. I didn't remember touching my computer. But my computer had touched my file. I emailed Mara with shaking fingers. It's in mine too. She replied almost instantly. I'm sorry. That was it. 2 words. Like an apology you give when you've already doomed someone by telling them where the door is. I wrote back. What is it? How do I stop it? This time she didn't respond right away. Minutes passed. Then, I tried deleting the file. It came back. I tried turning off the mic. The file still changed. I tried sleeping in the living room. It followed the quiet. Followed the quiet. Room tone isn't just sound. It's absence. It's the space where edits hide. My channel intro popped into my mind, something I'd recorded weeks ago. A simple line I always said before each story. Let's begin. A chill ran through me because I realized something. I hadn't said it last night. And yet, in my room tone file, at exactly 1 minute and 11 seconds, there was a new sound, tiny but crisp. My own voice. Soft and close to the microphone, like I was leaning in to tell a secret. Let's begin. I didn't record that. I don't sleepwalk. But my voice was there. And it sounded pleased. I stared at the waveform like it was a mouth. Then I did what I always do when I'm scared. I tried to work. I opened a project for a new video, a compilation of 5 short stories. 30 minutes. Easy. I dragged my room tone into the session because it was already on my desktop. I told myself I'd keep it, just for reference. Just to study it, like you keep a venomous insect in a jar so you can convince yourself it's contained. The moment the file landed on the timeline, my editor created an automatic track beneath it. Roomtone, auto. I hadn't enabled any automation. The track meter flickered like a heartbeat. I hit play. Nothing, at first. Then the whisper, calm again, almost gentle now that it knew I was listening. Don't cut. My cursor drifted to the razor tool anyway, like my hand didn't belong to me. And the whisper changed. Not louder. Not angrier. Just more specific. Don't cut, let it run. I stopped playback. In the silence, I heard something from my bedroom. A sound so soft it took a second to register. My microphone, still on the shelf, clicked once, like it had turned itself on. Then, from nowhere and everywhere at the same time, a voice pressed into the quiet of my apartment. Not through the speakers, not through the monitors, through the room tone itself. My own voice, again, smiling. Let's begin. And in the corner of my screen, my editing software started exporting a file I had not created. File name: Horror Story Podcast _episode _0.mp3. Progress bar: 0%, 1%, 2%. I tried to cancel it. The cancel button didn't work. I tried to force quit. The program stayed open. Then the whisper returned. No longer asking, no longer warning. A final instruction, whispered the way you whisper to someone who is already asleep. Don't cut, or you won't wake up where you were. The export reached 10%. And my room, the real one, held its breath. Because somewhere inside the quiet, something had started recording me. And it wasn't going to stop. Not until it had enough room tone to hide the edits.